Hey lovelies, welcome back to Reviews and Recaps. Pardon my voice. I'm not feeling too well today, but we have to move and continue. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. Let's get into today's episode. So today we're going to be talking about Ready to Love Dallas, my general thoughts about the episode and certain people on the cast. And yeah, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Please give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already. Make sure you subscribe and let's get into it. So the first person they introduced was Chris. So Chris is a construction developer. I don't know what that means, but sounds interesting. He was talking about, he's Nigerian and he wants to make sure that whoever is getting involved with him appreciates and respects his culture. I'm like, okay, this should be a little interesting. Chris is cute or whatever. So then the next person they showed was Jessica. Jessica is a coffee line owner. She was wearing this like orange dress, I think from House of Sibi. She looked decent. I wouldn't necessarily wear the dress on the first day I'm going on the show like that. I would want to slay, but she looked all right. And then there was Philip. Philip is a supply chain analyst. I get the impression Phil is a little weird, honey. Because how you finna see this woman? So he saw Jessica and then started talking about her toes. I'm like, you just met the woman. Now you want to be talking about her toes? Like, get a grip, honey. Even if you're into feet. Like, stop it, sir. It is not appropriate. I was like, yeah, it ain't appropriate, honey. Like, get a grip. So then there was Aries. Aries is a software sales manager. She has 2 kids, and you could tell that when she walked in, Chris was like, oh, she hot. Chris comes across as a guy who likes a little thicker woman. And so the way he was looking at Aries, I was like, oh, okay, sir. Don't get me wrong, Aries is cute and stuff, but it was just the way he was looking at her for a second. I was like, okay. And then there was Tequila. She is a marketing assistant. This is the part that got me, right? So she's introducing herself and she talks about, oh, men say they want a nice girl, but no, they love a little drama and that. She was basically saying she gonna bring it. I'm like, girl, you toxic. And the fact that you're like setting out and starting off with that, like you were toxic, honey. And judging by that preview, honey, you are one to watch. You really are. Like, it's given, she's gonna be toxic the whole season. I can't even sing because my voice is gone. But anyways, let's move on. The one that really got me, guys, is Habibi, right? He's the one who's a saxophonist. He's the one who basically looks like fake Arab money, honey. Like, it was not giving what he thought it would give, okay? Was not a fan of him at all. We'll talk about him a little bit later, honey. Let's keep going down the list. And then there was Sierra. Sierra is a personal stylist. She has this like blonde low cut. I really like her hair. Like, she's cute as well. And then there was Leanne. Leanne is a gym owner. Do you know what? The whole time I kept looking at her, I'm like, something is off. And I was like, oh, I see what it is. I do not like her makeup. I did not like it for a sec. And I was a bit like, girl, you keep bringing up what's your zodiac sign. What is your, like, girl, get over it, man. Are you 12? Anyway, she says she's a Gemini. So I don't know if that counts for anything. I do have some Gemini friends. And they're wonderful people, so, I don't know, man. I don't really believe in that nonsense. But anyways, let's keep going. And then there was Herbert. Herbert has locks, and you all know I love locks, honey. As someone who has locks myself, I love a good lock, honey. Anyways, he's an aviation manager. And I was like, okay, I like his suit. He looked put together. I was like, all right, like, you better bring it. There was Marvin. Marvin is an erotic writer and he's into dominatrix or something like that. I'm like, ooh, they are really trying to spice up this Ready to Love, honey, because what? And in my head, I was like, okay, are you really making money from this? Like, how much are you making? A lot of the people this season, I was kind of like, most of their jobs I didn't really recognize. And I'm just like, are they really working? Are they really paid, or are they a little broke? I think they need to start asking people to show their like financial statements and stuff on the show. Like, I'm not saying you can't, people of a certain like income cannot date. But I think that considering they've had certain people on the show pretending to be something they're not, they need to do background checks, like thorough background checks to make sure you actually have the job you say that you do. Because we know people come on the show and lie about all sorts of things. And so I hope that they're doing their due diligence. But judging by some of the previous seasons, I don't think they are. But anyways, let's move on. That's in my opinion. And allegedly, please, nobody should try coming for me on that one. So moving on, right? Eunuch is a TV and film producer. What was interesting is, so she was having a conversation with Marvin, the erotic writer, honey, and she was like intrigued by the fact that he's an erotic writer. Like, I get the intrigue, right? But girl, I'm like, it's like you see red flags and you're like, oh, let me jump on it. That is what is given. But I guess we're gonna see. We gonna see. Pardon my voice, honey. You know I like to sing everything, but today the voice ain't coming out right. Yeah, like last night was really rough for me. I cried a lot last night. But yeah, I'm not gonna bore you with that. So let's keep going. Then there was Janelle. Janelle came in with the ball of energy. I really liked her energy. She is a creative director. I'm like, I can see that. That energy, I can see that. She talks a little bit about being adopted and wanting to adopt children as well. It's like, okay, that's interesting. There was Quentin. Quentin is a personal trainer. There was Kira. Kira is a real estate agent. There was Red. Red is a DJ and comedian, right? And what was interesting was there was a point where Red was like, oh, everybody trying to talk to Janelle. Do you know what? I think it's her energy. She seems really vibrant, especially compared to like the rest of the cast. She seems like a good ball of energy for now anyway. And then there was Brandon. Brandon was cute in the face, but a walking red flag. We'll get into it in a second. But he's a trained dispatcher. The part that is the issue is that he was divorced 6 months ago. My thing is, Ready to Love, guys, why are you bringing a man that was divorced 6 months ago on Ready to Love, right? And then he was also married to the same woman twice. Now, that's not necessarily an issue in the sense that it shows that you really try to make it work. But then the problem is it also could show that you could go back to your ex again, right? So how am I supposed to be on a show, date you, only for you to go back to the ex for the third time? You've done it twice. What makes you think you won't do it again the third time? 6 months isn't long enough for me to feel like you've been completely separated from going back to your ex. So nah, I ain't about to put my life at risk for you, honey. That just ain't gonna happen. So yeah, that was just what that was. So then there was Lee. Lee is a fitness and wellness coach. She was in this really nice pink dress. I was like, all right, girl, you better come through in that dress, honey. And then there was Murier. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I'm just saying it how it's spelled, honey. He's an entrepreneur. I'm like, okay, I hope he really, really is doing the dang thing, because some people is the code for AKA broke. But anyways, let's keep moving on. So he has one son. And yeah, I was like, okay, so that's pretty much the cast for this season. So Uncle Tommy comes in now, and Uncle Tommy's telling everyone like 2 people are going home. Now, please explain to me why these people are acting shocked. I'm like, one thing is this: if you're getting cast for the show, I bet you guys have watched at least one season, or at least season 1, episode 1, honey. So you know 2 people are going to go. Why are you acting shocked? This is what bugs me about these things, right? It's like they be acting so shocked. What? Oh, like, girl, you know that is what happens, right? Two people go home on the first day, honey. So I don't know why you're acting like you ain't never heard that before. But anyways, that's just my side point, right? I was a bit irritated with that. So anyways, Philip and Tequila, well, I know her name is not Tequila, but I'm gonna call her Tequila because it's just easier. Philip and Tequila basically started like having a conversation. So she then decides to ask Philip some questions about when and where he was getting the do. I'm like, honey, if you don't want to know the answer, don't ask the question. You were the one asking where's the worst or like place or something along those lines of where he has had sex. And so he said what he said. So why are you then acting like so stuck up now and uptight? Honey, if you were uptight to begin with, you shouldn't have asked that question. Well, I know she ain't feeling Philip and Philip ain't feeling her. So that's the end of that. And then there was Quentin and Lee. So they're both into fitness, which was interesting. And they both like had a good conversation. They were talking about like their past relationships. So they started talking about how so Lee started and said her parents have been married for 39 years. And then Quentin was like, yes, his parents rather have been married for 44 years, and then continue to say that his grandparents have been married for 70 years. I'm like, that is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. And it's interesting that he still has his grandparents. He better hug them and keep them close. Like, I lost my grandmom yesterday, and yeah, it's been really, really like upsetting for me. So I can only imagine, like, when he said that, you know, his grandparents have been married for 70 years, I was like, wow, that is so beautiful, man. So yeah, it's a blessing that he still has his grandparents, and I hope that he, you know, has them for as long as he can. But anyways, moving on, guys. Onto like, you know, more softer subjects. So Maria and Leanne were speaking, and this is the part that got me, and I was like, Leanne, girl, you ain't ready to love, honey. You are not. I know you're 49 and whatnot, but you ain't ready to love. How is this man opening up to you and talking about his dad passing on? He's clearly emotional about it. That is a very emotional, touchy moment. And she was so cold. It almost even gave the impression like she was not interested. She was so insensitive. Even Maria had to ask her, like, have you lost your parents? Because the way she was acting shifty, it was given like, oh, maybe she'd suffered some loss recently or something of her parents. And it's like a touchy subject. But no, she had both her parents. And I was just like, you're so insensitive. So yeah, Maria wasn't feeling her. I wasn't feeling her. And, you know, in a way, yeah, she wasn't meant for the show, honey. She just wasn't meant for the show. Over on the other side, honey, Herbert and Janelle seemed to be bonding. So it was like all smiles. They were bantering back and forth. They had really good energy. I was like, okay, there could be something there. Like, I love how they were bouncing off each other. It's like quite nice. And yeah, it was nice to just see organic chemistry and like people getting along. Because like with the others, it just seemed like everything, well, not everyone, but like for most of them, it seemed like we couldn't see that initial chemistry between them. Okay. But yeah, like, what do you guys think about that? Like, do you guys see that there could be something between Hubert and Janelle, or is it, or do you think it's nothing? So anyways, Tommy decides to speak to the guys and tries to find out who they're feeling and who they were not feeling. So the guys start talking about not feeling Tequila because she's coming on too strong, as Tequila does. And then Eunuch and Leanne. And apparently Leanne was having like too many surface level conversations and whatnot. And then I just kept thinking, so when he called both of them out, I just kept thinking, Leanne, you need to tone down that makeup, honey. It ain't cute. It ain't cute. And I know you're a woman of a particular age and you might feel like, oh, I need all that makeup. But the thing is, you need a good makeup artist. A good makeup artist would, even if you're caked on, you ain't gonna look caked on, honey. This one, it was given very much caked on, and I don't think it was cute. So you need to, girl, take it directly from me, honey. You need to get a makeup artist, and or at least get a makeup artist to do your makeup, right? and then let them also show you, watch them and see how they do it, right? Go to them a few times, try and take some notes and try it on your face, honey. I just think just a little tweaks here and there and she would be good to go, okay? Although, of course, that insensitivity, honey, you might need therapy for that. But yeah, we can fix the physical appearance, but the inner work will have to be done, honey, by you. Anyways, Tequila is pissed, honey. She was upset. She was crying. Like, she was not feeling it at all. I get it though. Like, it's like you come on a show, you think you're a baddie, and then on the first day, people are like, girl, you in bed like you thought you were. And I'm like, ooh, that is what is given. So I understand that could upset someone who has like a shaky self-esteem to begin with. Like, if you're solid, you're like, well, girl, that's your loss. You didn't see my value. That's on you, honey. That ain't got nothing to do with me. So clearly she has some self-esteem issues. But anyways, Murray was then trying to comfort her, and he was like so sensitive, and he was like bigging her up and trying to let her know like death and life are in the power of the tongue. You can't just be speaking things about yourself and like saying things that you're inadequate, because that's what you will be. I'm like, yes sir, you better preach. And then he was just speaking her up and was basically saying to her that she has to believe that she's good enough. And let the choir say amen. 100%. She has to believe that. It doesn't matter what anyone does or says. You have to believe that you are the ish, honey. You have to believe that. But you don't. And that's just what that is. Right? So I appreciated this man comforting this woman in this time. I appreciated how sensitive he is. He actually seems like he's really interested in love, which is very weird because I'm like, honey, you must not have heard about the show, honey. They do not have a lot of success rates. But I wish you good luck. I hope that maybe you will be the success on the show. But I'm not going to hold my breath for that. Okay, let's talk about Brandon and Lee, honey. So Brandon in Brandon fashion started bringing up the fact that he was married twice and divorced 6 months ago. I'm like, honey, you don't have to lead every conversation with that. Like, it is annoying. It makes you look childish. It just wasn't it. Let's just say, honey, Lee was not feeling it at all. She was not. Once she heard that, she was like, hell nah. She did not hide it. She was very vocal. She was asking him the question. She was like, I appreciate his honesty, but it's a no. And I'm like, sis, I understand. I completely understand, honey. I completely understand. Over on the other side, Eunuch and Red were having a conversation. So Eunuch is a TV producer and Red is a comedian / DJ, okay? So Eunuch, basically, they start talking about like lifestyles and work and whatnot. Please explain to me how Eunuch decides to have the audacity to say that Red's job is a thought job. Okay, now let's talk about it privately, okay? Yes, being a DJ is a little bit of a thought job. That's the reality, right? Because it is what it is. However, honey, you say that inside your heart. You won't speak it out loud. And if you do say it out loud, you say it once, you laugh about it, you move on. She kept bringing it up. It was almost like she was using it to demean him. And I did not appreciate that. I was like, honey, where is all this energy? You ain't got to like the man, but you don't have to disrespect his job. It's the same way he could say your job. You ain't getting paid to do your job because we don't know any TV show you've done. So maybe you need to speak up and tell us what you've done, right? But he did not do that. You don't have to sit in his face and disrespect his profession. Because if roles were reversed and he said your role is a thought job, you will not appreciate that. You will run that back to the women's lounge and you say, oh, Red is a disgusting person. Can you believe he said this? That's what I think you would do. So the way you wouldn't appreciate that, honey, don't bring that to him. It's just not right, honey. Yes, you could think it. I'll be honest. When I'm talking to a guy and he says, oh, he's a DJ, I'm like, oh, I ain't interested, but I ain't gonna say that is why. I just keep quiet and I I watch, right? I just know that it ain't gonna be serious because you're out in those streets like that. Now, you might be a family man, you might be all of that, but do I want the lifestyle that comes with dating someone who is a DJ full time? No. If it's just like a side project, maybe I will consider it. I doubt it, but we'll see. But if it's like a full-time gig and that's what you're doing and that's what you're into, like, I would proceed with caution. But that don't mean I'm gonna be like, yo, you have a thought job. That is disrespectful. Like, we shouldn't tolerate that. What we know we wouldn't accept, don't give it. Don't dish it out to people. That's how I feel. That I'm sticking to it. And then so it was now the guy's turn for elimination, honey. So the girls start talking about who they're not feeling. So a lot of them brought up that they're liking Quentin and Chris and Hubert. I'm like, all right, fair enough. I see what y'all see in them. And then they kept saying Quentin is like a gentleman. I'm like, I'm not surprised because considering he grew up in a two-parent household, he is probably accustomed to things working a certain way. So I'm not surprised that he's getting the ladies' attention. So now let's talk about who they were not feeling, honey. They talked about Brandon because he's freshly divorced. Fair enough. I can't lie, Brandon right now, 4 kids, freshly divorced, and gone back to his wife twice, honey, is giving working red flag, honey. So no. And then on the other hand, there's Habibi. Habibi has been giving walking red flags since he showed up, honey. That outfit is a no from me. Okay? I don't get it, honey. You're not from Dubai. What is that, sir? Cut it out. It was given someone trying to pretend to be something they are not. And it was given, I'm just here to entertain you folks, right? It is given production placed him there for a reason, in my opinion, honey. I don't think he's here for love. I think he's here to disrupt the ready to love, I don't think he's there for love. I just don't think he is. That's just the reality, in my opinion, okay? And yeah, and also someone said, or a few people said they weren't feeling red as well. So that was it. In terms of the episode, it wasn't really given anything, which is fair enough because this is the first episode. I'm not expecting much, but considering that preview was given, a lot is going to happen and Tequila would be giving us a lot of drama this season. She really is the drama. That's what it's sounding like. So just stay tuned, watch and cover it for you guys. Give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already. Make sure you subscribe. Also, let me know in the comment section below. Are you feeling anybody already, or is it too early? What did you guys think of this episode? Yeah, I just thought it was a basic introductory episode, gave nothing but that, and that's the end of today's video. Have a good day and take care of yourselves, and talk to you guys later. Bye.